This video is made on Dehancer Pro, so I'm going to show you exactly, first of all, the final result, and I'll show you the tools of Dehancer Pro and how they work. It's not going to be very deep. I'm just going to show you what each button and each slider does. First, let me show you the result of it.
Coming back doing, but I cannot just point out where. So often I was hitting my head against the wall.
You see that there are a lot of grains. I'm pretty sure that you see it, but I wish you can see it better in big screen.
Well, among other things, that's one of the many things, depression and all that. And now I'm better in a sense, mentally, physically, still a disaster. But I think I gained some energy and motivation back in order to make some search. But at the same time, it's a really good piece of, it's a thing. Trust me. It can be Shakespeare. It's more about education.
So it's not very heavy editing, and the grain, the movement of the screen that you see, they are all made in the software. So I'm going to just first go to the color tab, which is here. And then what I'm going to do is select the timeline, and you have effects. First of all, I will right click the node grade, even though I'm pretty sure that that's not the case. And I'll put myself somewhere else, perhaps. I don't need myself that big, I guess. And then you can go directly to the search and type Dehancer. Simply just drag and drop. That's pretty easy. Once you are done, you have this window open that calls settings. And this is where all the magic happens. Now pay attention to the color. We can also, of course, take a look at the histogram and all that, but I'm not going there because I genuinely wish you to see how easy this can be. It can really, personally, I don't go deep into thousands of nodes, even though this software is ridiculously crazy. Crazy good. And I don't think I even use 10% of what it offers. But if you want something nice and easy without spending hours with color grading, it's also possible. That's my point. Now, already by default, it has added some kind of look. But if you go to the sidebar, I'm going to try to make it look much better, bigger, especially for you. And perhaps I will get rid of clips. Instead, I'll just bring on timeline. Not that. This. You know what? Leave it. Now, when you scroll down to this Dehancer Pro sidebar, you have plenty of options. First of all, input. So in the input, of course, you will put the source. In my case, is 703. Generally, all of the consumer grade cameras are 703. So don't worry about it. And if you want to worry about it, of course, I recommend you to look at the documentation, which is extremely important. And then I guess I'll put myself in the middle. That would be more appropriate. Compensation, generally, I use them as typical exposure. Then you have the temperature compensation. Of course, less is in the colder side, more is in the warmer side. Then you have the typical tint, difference, and radius. But all of those, I'm not going to go deep into the details because those, in my opinion, are pretty obvious. I'm pretty sure we all have some basic knowledge when we are getting into the world of color editing. The fun part, in my opinion, is the film stock. So when you go to the film, you have to make sure that you click enables, because if you disable, it takes away the film profile. So you enable it, and then of course this is where I think the most beautiful section of the software. You get to select out of many choices. Let's say Cine Still, amazing. And I wish I could make this screen bigger. I don't know how though. And then you have Cine Still 800T. I mean, look at all those lists. I'm just going to slowly scroll down for you to take a look. And we have these Ukrainian ones, which is very nice. I love it. We also have the Konica, something that we all almost have forgotten. It's been forever. And then the basic push pull. If you are into the color, the black and white, and especially the film photography, when you push it, what's happening? So you're pushing it. Essentially, you're pushing the film, meaning instead of 5 minutes, you're pushing to 5 minutes, 30 seconds, etc., to get more dynamic range out of your film, but at a cost. When you pull it, look at this. You're doing the opposite. You're reducing the time of development. So it is not your typical plus and minus of the exposure. Then you have the developer, which is another most important part of the film photography, that you can, by the use of temperature, and I'm talking about the real temperature when you develop your film, or by the use of more dilution methods, or using more chemicals, you can manipulate your contrast. Here it's just a slide. I might have didn't enable, so you can enable it first, and then you can reduce your contrast. You can add contrast, which is essentially the same kind of tool in terms of the contrast slider. Color separation. So if you go all the way to 0, what happens? And if you go all the way up, what happens? You see that not much. I think it affects when you do the color boost. It affects with your contrast boosting. For instance, you see, now you can see the difference. But when the contrast boost is in the middle, the color separation doesn't work, because the thing is that when you push your contrast, fun fact, your color changes. So imagine that you want to change color, contrast, without affecting your color. So this is where the color separation comes in. And then I'm not going to the film compression immediately. Impact, just accept impact. Impact means opacity. Just think about opacity, replace it with impact. This is what it is. So every single impact here are the same. The another important part here is the color head. Now, I don't know if you noticed that many times, even if when I used to look at my old photographs of my parents or grandparents, I know for sure that they use the exact same roll or rolls. Let's say they used 4 or 5 rolls of film, and they made a big photo album. But for whatever reason, certain photos, the color, definitely they are not constant. For whatever reason, some of them are slightly more green, yellow. It's like there is something changed. And I always wondered, what is it? So turns out that it can be that the lab they were at to develop the photos, they maybe had chemicals that were expired, or the temperature was not right. Many reasons. What happened is that you start to see the changes like that. Hang on, I'm gonna have to enable it first. You see, sometimes the yellow was too much, or maybe it's on the green side. Same for the magenta or blue, magenta and blue, green. Most of the time I used to see these much more on the green area. Very rarely. Cyan a lot, red very little, and sometime same effect, but sometime in the shadow area or mid-tone area or highlight area. So it was variety. So you can do all that here. And the preserve exposure, meaning same, when you manipulate your luminosity, you're also manipulating your color. And the opposite is true as well, meaning when you are manipulating your color, you're also manipulating your contrast. But what if you just do one but not the other? This is where the preserved exposure comes in. And those are a bit more technical part, but the fun, another second most fun after the film stock is the grain, because if you're using this kind of software, this you basically are here for film grain as well. So first of all, you have the selection of plenty, 8 mm, 35 mm to 65 mm to different ISO. Let's say for fun, I select 35 mm 500, and you can push it all the way. Take a look. And the fun fact, they move, meaning they're not like a static grain. As you saw earlier in the video, that the grains are moving just like in the real life. Because, of course, in each image of those video films, the grains were never on the same location, right? They changed. So this is where this software is amazing, because they made sure that it recreate the very film look, in literally speaking. Then halation as well. So instead of the glow look that we used to have back in the day, by using the separate filter, which actually you can still buy today, you can actually use it directly here. So either you can reduce it completely, or you can add halation as much as you want. But it's actually fun using halation in the nighttime, in my opinion. And it also does the effect of, you have this light bulb, but around it, you have this different kind of color. So those actually are from halation. But if you're looking for true glowy look, then bloom is your friend. So I'm going to turn it on. And if I push it all the way to 100, take a look. It's kind of grayish, very gloomy, soft. Or you can just don't use it at all. Then film damage, same. When you saw my video, there are like a part of it, like as if the something stuck on the camera, on the lens, because of course the film were never perfect. Sometimes used to get scratched, and used to get damaged for whatever reason. So they show that I used to show that jitter or scratch and so on. You could have it. Film breathe is another interesting tool. That is, I'm going to show you. I'm going to enable it first, and then let's say, suppose I'm going to 60 mm. What it does, that sometimes you see that it's zooming in out. It's a very subtle change. Is because when the films are passing by the lens, of course the motor is moving, so it moves. That's what the film breathe. And for the rest of the tool, vignette, you know that. The rest of the tool, I'm not going to get into details because I'm just showing you the fun part of it. And then if you want to save what you've done, that's also important thing. You can create the LUT generator and you can export your LUT. Unfortunately, it will not export the grain or breathing. It only create the LUT based on color and luminosity. So I'm showing you all the most important bits of it. Of course, you have the color monitor, You have the output. Output again, total impact means total opacity. So impact of this plugin onto the actual final output. So how much you want, more or less of this plugin. So that's impact. And options quality, I always check normal first because it's quick and easy. It gets the job done. But when you are in it for proper production, then you can, provided you have the most powerful computer available at your disposal, you should of course select the high and slow. So that's pretty much the Dehancer Pro plugin in a nutshell. But I recommend you to download it and use the trial. And I'm providing a very good discount. The link in the description below, or it should be somewhere at the top. I recommend you to take a look at it. Take care of yourself, and bye bye.